Hey, what's good, everybody? What's good? Is there anyone out there?
Dude, I was gonna say meme coins were not a mistake. We did not make a mistake. We were right the whole time.
Everyone's on the dog spaces, dude. I was just over there. There's 900 people in that space, almost 1,000 people at that.
That's everyone left, huh?
That's
the survivors.
That's all.
Honestly, I think that the dog bridge, like the expansion, I was talking about this on the space right before I joined here, that it's perfect timing. Literally, like, couldn't have had a better opportunity than to start this new narrative for the Runes ecosystem. Well, I guess it's just for dog, because everyone hates if you're not a dog holder, everyone else in the Runes ecosystem seems to hate it for some reason. Like, it gave that, like, meme coin communities run off of narratives, and the dog community has literally a entire narrative that can literally last an entire year to figure it out, right? That's like a fresh thing that they can thrive off of, where a lot of these meme coins are kind of just dead in the water. Like, they've been listed across all the exchanges, that meta's done, right? The pump fund thing is fading. Like, what else what other narratives do you have to follow for a lot of these other Solana meme coins? Whereas dog now has something new, and I think that's what's really exciting. I think that'll help it ascend maybe into the top 100 tokens.
We'll see. I mean, for me, it's like the Solana traders who literally now the attention span is less than a minute. I mean, are they going to feel like they have to feel okay if they're buying in at whatever it is, 400 million, 500 million, that this thing can go to multiple billions. Man, that for me, that doesn't vibe with what I see.
I don't think it has to do really with like the Solana traders. Like it got listed on Slingshot, and it'll get listed on Moonshot and stuff. And so like those type of apps are not catering to the Solana traders or the degens. It's trying to go after like the mainstream because you could buy with Apple Pay or you buy with USD with your bank account.
Those are degens though. There's not like any real big traders on that aren't degening. I got to go with Adam there. Those are all straight like.
I don't think I mean more of like the kind of like advanced sophisticated traders who are executing different types of trading strategies and holding for short amount of time or short periods of time, whereas I think what Slingshot and Moonshot, and there's like a few of these, are catering towards is like the average person at some point in time. Maybe it's not today, but it's your friend asks, hey, how do I buy this? You just go to Moonshot or Slingshot and you just buy with USD. And a lot of these people.
That's true. But when I would consider those people like the degens, just like the regular people that are looking to buy a token that they see is going up, no sophistication, the average like 22-year-old that wants to make some extra money, but isn't necessarily in it to hold for the long term. How many of these people do you think that even know what dog is, other than it's a dog coin on Bitcoin? How many do you think that they know it's like a free and fair distribution? What are the odds of that? I don't think extremely minimal.
Yeah, I don't think that actually matters really, because I think like the whole kind of prospect of dog, there's two, right? There's the free and fair for the people in the Bitcoin ecosystem. But the larger thing, the mascot's literally called dog. It's an AI generated dog with a Bitcoin hoodie on it, right? Like it's supposed to be catered to, you know, the mid curve, I guess, right? That 80% of people who exist in that mid curve is who it's catering towards. And the one thing I find interesting here is the dog community is largely outside of the US. It's largely has a huge South American and Central America holder base. I don't know whether they have access to, you know, I think most people have iPhones, so they have access to the, you know, the app store where they could just download Slingshot. And like, I think those are like the target buyers, like those people in all those other countries outside of the US, where they just tell their friend, hey, buy this token here on Slingshot or Moonshot or whatever kind of comes, DeFi app or whatever it kind of is. And I think that's really what this opens up the opportunity towards.
We'll see. I don't know. My gut just says like people are wise now. You know, we've run a full meme coin cycle, and unless they can see, like viscerally see that there's going to be so much traction on this attention wise that it's going to do a 2, 3, 4, 5x from here, they'll just fade it. I don't know. People are the trenches are so burnout now that you almost need to create, there almost needs to be like a new narrative for something to pump. And even that, like even if somebody came out with something amazing today, which is like, wow, that's a great, this is really cool. I just feel like the trenches are so burned that everybody just paper hands, because it's just, you've been so burned literally in seconds that everybody's looking just to get out. I think this is the interesting thing with this though. It does have the tie to Bitcoin. Obviously selling on Bitcoin's a whole different narrative. So we'll get a balancing out, which we've already gotten. I don't know what the market cap is on Bitcoin itself, but
it's just balanced out. You can see it on the chart.
It's already balanced. So, I mean, that will happen. And so if for example, now that, you know, people are moving it off of Bitcoin, if Bitcoin runs up a little bit with it, we'll see that kind of, you know, quick movement of people will front and run both sides. People will get really good at that quick. And so that should balance, but it's almost like, you know, to Chris's point, have people not heard of dog already? I mean, if you're in, you know, on crypto Twitter, you've heard of dog already. I mean, if you haven't, you're basically got your eyes closed. So, you know, if you didn't buy it then because it was a pain in the ass in Bitcoin, I could see you're buying it on Solana now, but do you feel like it's going to do a multi-X from here? Just feels unlikely to me.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if these are actually available in South America with Slingshot, with Moonshot. I mean, those apps, they look like American apps to me. They look like US based App Store apps, just like, a precursor to Coinbase or something like that. So I'd be interested in that. Um, the free and fair, I'd be interested in seeing how many people would even know, because like you said, some of these are newcomers to crypto. If this is just, they would think that it's a dog clone. You know how you just launched the equivalent of one coin on Solana and it's not the actual coin. I wonder how many of them would think that it's just a clone of dog, but not the actual real dog on Solana. And then lastly, I think, man, I mean, we've really just burned through these meme coins. We had the cute animal meta. We had the Maraud's list, believe in something meta. We had the politician, real life assets meta, scam everyone you can meta. I don't know how many of these metas we can actually take
A
from meme
lot.
coins. At some point, at some point, I mean, everyone's been saying it, but I mean, you've got to go to digital art at some point. You've got to go to utility at some point, right? I mean, how many more buyers of these? How many more narratives of these animals can we actually come up with? It'll be interesting to see. But if the market's not burnt out yet, then I don't know if there's a crypto outside of these. This might just be all that we have left, boys. This is the trenches. We're all in the trenches.
Yeah, the trenches are definitely cooked. I think most people are pretty exhausted. Although then you just see everyone kind of following Dave Portnoy's trades yesterday,
Totally, man. Totally.
which is
I mean,
funny. Like,
everybody's burnt out, but it's like everybody knows the game now. And so everybody's still like, well, I've learned so much. I still have an edge here. Like, I could still get some edge, right? But the edge is like, it's taken down it's been minimized to like almost nothing. Like, even if you are, I mean, you just have to be literally, buy stuff same block. Like, it's literally at that point to make money in this market.
one thing that I've learned growing up in Vegas, and Chris knows this as well because we both worked on the strip. No matter the day, casinos are never empty.
Yeah.
There's always people there doing something, whether it's their time off, right? Or whether they're here for a holiday and they need a reason, or there's a group outing. There's always going to be people playing the game. And like, again, meme coins are just the same as utility tokens, just the same as, trading perps or options. Like, they're all different games inside of the casino. Just meme coins were the hot casino game for a while. I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon. But I think people are getting tired of getting ran through, and so they're going to find something out, which generally means then, at least this is kind of what you would think with Dog and with Whiff and some of the Pepe and stuff, is that people then just only buy whatever the popular one is, or the one that they feel comfortable, or they know that it has a community, instead of trying to trade these shitters, or the game changes in terms of the pump fund, which is possible. They have $500 million. They just released an app. I don't know if you saw that. Pump fund just released an application.
Oh no.
So yes. So they're definitely, like, I don't think the meme coin trenches are going to go away. I do think they will change in some way. How they change, I don't know. But with Bitcoin meme coins, or you could just say with Rune specifically, I mean, Magic Internet Money migrated yesterday. I migrated mine after it was incredibly painful to even figure out how to do. And it's literally just gone down since the migration. I think it's down to 50. It's down to 50 mil or so. Oh, is it not badged yet? So Magic Internet Money, it's down to $52 million market cap.
What was it what was it a week ago? We said like 80. Was it at 80?
Is it like 80? I think it got up to like 200 or 250 or something like a month or two ago. So even Bitcoin is getting, tanked as well. Pups is down to 34. Dude, RSIC is down to like 15 million. It was at like 400 million or something at one point. Like, they were trying to compete with Dog. And yeah, I guess you wonder, there's some other things on the horizon, like Kaido we could get into. I mean, we could even just sit and talk about the current state of meme coins, where this Argentinian fiasco, to say the least, although really not too much different, to be honest, outside of the Trump coin launch, the Melania launch, the Enron launch. Like, they're all kind of the same people. I don't think with Trump, but I guess this guy was behind Melania, or at least a part of the Melania. Like, they were all the same thing. It's like, why do you think this blew up? and like why this became such a thing. Is it because crypto likes main characters and this guy Hayden, for some reason, decided to make himself the main character and pull an SBF and just start admitting to, I guess, you know, kind of unveiling the curtain and allowing everyone to finally know specifically what is happening. I mean, it's been theorized for a long time that people are sniping and making hundreds of millions, but now you actually have somebody who you can point and blame that, yes, he's the one that's making it. Like, I don't know, Adam, what do you think? Why do you think this blew up, and what is to come and the fallout of the first and second order effects here over the next few months?
I think the reason it blew up is because the KOLs got rugged. I think that's why it really took off, because all the KOLs lost money, and so that they all tweeted it out, and that's why it blew up in that sense. But I think the deeper thing that actually, you know, Dave kind of exposed was that, or it started the ball rolling to that expose, was that no, the infrastructure providers are front running this stuff, and I think that I fully expect like prosecutors to get involved, like that. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, just because they have to. Like if they don't do that, like you can't be an infrastructure. Just like they went after Nate from OpenSea and you know, took him to got him in jail for a year or whatever. For, I mean, it's literally crazy. It's like it was like $30,000. Like how nuts.
He got 3 months, by the way. I looked it up yesterday
okay,
after a show.
3 months. And like, but that's actually what we want. We want to make sure that the infrastructure providers, it would be like if we were doing whatever, we've done a launch, right? We did, you know, a launch in the past, and it was like, if we front run that ourselves, like that's I mean, you just know morally it's wrong, and it's also legally wrong. You can't do that. And so I hope the hammer comes down on them. I heard some crazy rumors going around that like that guy, what's the guy's name? It's like Cat Meow or Meow or whatever that guy is.
The founder of Jupiter.
Yeah. You know, deep connections to like China, and it could be a Chinese thing. And then you hear the conspiracy theory is like, oh, this is actually like all set up by the Chinese government as a way to like take down like a leader in Malay who is like a free market, you know, libertarian guy who's the biggest threat to somebody like China. And I was like, holy cow, man. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's sure, bro, that has the ring of, I mean, that rings like, oh, I mean, that guy may not be in the government or whatever, but you know, the way this thing works, like if you get a tap on the shoulder and you're in China, you do whatever the hell you're told to do. So like I heard that rumor and I was like, whoa, that kind of makes sense. And then they're tied into Melania, and maybe that puts Trump at a little bit of risk or whatever. And I was just like, holy cow, that is a crazy conspiracy theory that, ouch. You know, if you think like, what's the one way we could attack Malay, who's actually like really making significant changes in this country? Like, damn, that's pretty smart. So anyway, that's the rumor on the street. But I do think that hopefully the guys who, you know, front ran it, the infrastructure guys get after by the government. Don't like government stepping in, but this is one where you need, in order to keep things fair, you have to do that.
Yeah, it looked like the Meteora founder. It didn't look like he was front running it, but he was sharing the contract addresses with people in his circle. So I think Meow, I forget what his actual name is, the founder of Jupiter, who I didn't even know owns Meteora, and they also own Moonshot. So they own basically the whole entire pipeline.
Bro.
And so the founder of Meteora, who's the LP provider, stepped down. They said that it was bad judgment, which it does sound like. It didn't sound like he was personally buying, but as a leader in the space, you got to know that you have to keep confidentiality in these type of things. Like we do this with Emblem, where we don't leak anything. If it has to do anything with the token, you do not share that outside. The only way you can release that, it has to be public for everyone to see at the same time. That's just standard kind of stock practices as well. That is the rules of the land. And so you have now Hayden, who has $110 million in his wallet. As he was being interviewed by Dave Portnoy, Dave asks him, who owns this money? He says, not me. It's not mine. He doesn't know where to give it. to it. Javier Milei went on an interview yesterday. He claims that, he was just supporting a project. In his tweet, he does kind of hint that it was private. It does sound like he may have not been an insider on this. It sounds like he may have actually been kind of used, at least from my perspective. Like he may have not known the full scale of what this is. And so I highly recommend people to kind of go and watch that. But Chris, what's the fallout here? Is this just a mega negative for Solana in general? Like, is there a washout of the culture? I see people even trying to pin this on Toli and Raj, who are the founders of Solana, for shilling meme coins. Like, what is happening over in the casino, and what's your take on it all?
Man, I mean, they broke all the rules, right? There's all these unwritten rules. It's all unethical. If you're going to be unethical, you can't fleece the rich. You could fleece the poor all you want, but you cannot fleece the rich because they're the only ones with legal repercussions. And you definitely should not be fleecing presidents of countries. That's how you end up in a pretty bad spot. They were so brazen about it, using all the top infrastructure on Solana. They're all compromised at this point. They're all going to catch lawsuits. It's going to be terrible. This is so much worse than it looks on face value because it wasn't marketed as a meme coin. It was actually marketed as an infrastructure project for Argentina. So when they say, whose money is this? Well, it was never supposed to be in your hands. It was at the end of the day, it was supposed to be in the hands of the Argentinian government because it was an infrastructure project. So whose money is that's Argentina's money. And the fact that they're like, I don't even know whose it is. They were never even planning on doing anything with it except for pocketing it. So those people are in pretty bad shape, as they should be. It's pretty sad to see Meteora super implicated in this, along with Jupiter. And I think Jupiter just bought Moonshot, right? Didn't they buy
major stake?
Major stake, 50% or more in Moonshot. I mean, so basically all of the leading infrastructure on Solana is implicated. It's kind of good for the industry that it's all siloed into one chain. Luckily we don't live in this multi-chain world totally yet, and so you look at Ethereum, it looks like it's just kind of fine, and nobody was on the Bitcoin ecosystem to begin with, so it seems like that's just business as usual. But just another black stain on this industry. Seems like we can't get away from these kind of bad actors. I mean, it's a decentralized world. People are going to be doing whatever they want all the time, and I guess that just the good comes with the bad. But it's just tough to see that, time after time, we can't get away from all of these bad actors. And everyone's always known that behind the scenes, you're going to have all these different kind of sleight of hand launches where somebody's making some money. But when you really pull the curtain back and you see how brazen they've gotten and how much money they're siphoning out and literally not giving anything back to the industry, it's pretty difficult to watch. And hopefully at sometimes these people need to be made examples of. And I hope that this is one of those times so that we can kind of finally get to where we're going. We're finally getting regulatory clarity. We're finally getting all the things that we asked for over the past 10 years. And then we have another big blow up right before we get to the final stretch. I hope this is the last one.
It just feels like that. I mean, when you have a company that's making that much money, though, like nothing's going to really happen to the company. Like they'll find a scapegoat, right? And that scapegoat.
You think so? I think.
Yeah, I don't think the companies that much money. It's just there's an insulation layer there usually, in my view.
I mean, but these are financial services companies. You need money transmitting licenses to operate, and once you lose your license, you can no longer operate. And if you catch a kind of wire fraud or money laundering case like that, you'll lose your license immediately. So I think that there's huge implications personally.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. We'll see. The one that is shocking to me, the thing that was shocking when I heard that, it was Malay's sister that got $5 million. It always strikes me as, wow, people really don't know crypto at all. Like the general world has no freaking idea what is happening here. Like that she sold out and put her entire family at risk for $5 million when she didn't take 2 minutes to research how much they made with Melania and with Trump. Like it's always stunning to me, the lack of information that people have about crypto. It's literally crazy. That was the most stunning thing to me, honestly.
It goes deep. I wonder if that is true, right? He says that he has basically Malay on his leash because he's paying out his sister. So we'll see some of that come up, right? You want to see a court case filed so that all of this has to come to discovery so that you really understand it. And Hayden is an LA resident from what I've read. So that does seem like it is a very possibility. I'm a little, I'm not confident there's going to be a court case on this, to be honest. I don't think anyone's going to go to jail.
Really?
It's possible. We haven't seen it happen yet. It's now international. I think there's this question of like, who has jurisdiction over this? Obviously, he lives in LA, so then it's, from the LA perspective, it's okay. What did he do? If Melania is implicated in this, then it's, oh, now this goes up to Trump, and then Javier Milei, who's also close with Elon, and there's Javier Milei. There's now a lawsuit against him in Argentina. Honestly, you hope something like this happens, or like you hope there's a court case, because this needs to be solved and this needs to give people outside confidence. It's going to be hard to see new capital enter the space until there's some regulations or there's kind of a cap that's put on this lid of this situation. But the most damning piece of evidence, I think, was inside of a group chat where he said, "Yeah, boys, I think we're going to max extract on this one." I think that is the most damning piece of evidence there. Like, I don't know how you come back after having that public. That is very, very tough to see. So I guess, Chris, what do you think happens to Solana after this? Is this like as of today, the technology is the same as it was a week ago before this happened? Obviously, sentiment is probably at its low, probably close to FTX level, although Bitcoin's at a high. But where does Solana go from here?
I think it's just, the chain's going to do just fine. Like I said, I always bet on the biggest applications of the year being built on Solana, not anything to do with the principles of Solana, but the technology of Solana, how it operates. I think there's going to be a rewiring of these companies. I think Jupiter's top spot is in jeopardy. I think it's a good opportunity for anyone building a DEX, anyone building an AMM, anyone building kind of these liquidity provider tools to kind of step up and take those top spots. Because I personally think that there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, and I think people will go to jail. And I would be amazed if they didn't go to jail, and that would kind of we wouldn't be making any progress as an industry if they didn't go to jail. And as far as kind of Melania and Milei being kind of implicated in this, they'll never be truly implicated. The hammer is always going to come down on the infrastructure providers, and so that's even worse. Melania is not going to be brought up in court. She pretty much has so many veils of protection against her, so many umbrellas, that she just signed some papers and launched a token, but she wasn't the one to launch it. She didn't do the process. And so I think that if Trump is involved, that's even worse for these companies. He's not going to let his wife be implicated in these lawsuits and them not be prosecuted, in my opinion. So we'll have to see. As far as Solana goes, it's just going to keep chugging along, but it does kind of point the target back at Ethereum and say, this is Vital's opportunity to kind of come up with something that's a little bit different. Maybe, I don't know what the solution is, but hopefully we can get something a bit more ethical, because once again, we're pretty far down the unethical spectrum that we always find ourselves on in this industry. It's rough.
I was thinking like because the whole idea with Pump Fund was that it's like this, relatively fair launch system. And I think like the market's learning, like if it's not done that way, and obviously you can snipe the entire token supply, so it's not going to be completely fair. But these ones that aren't done that way, it's like you just realize it's an insider cabal. We know that now. The market knows it definitively now. And so if you buy it, like frankly, at that point in time, if you lose money, like it's just then you're the sucker, And I think there are ways that Pump could actually try some interesting things. I was thinking the other day, like, what if the first whatever X percentage of the tokens were time locked for an hour, or 30 minutes or whatever, right? You could do these interesting things. So I think, but it's so hard for a competing company to do it. It's like they have such network effect that it's almost it's going to be almost impossible to knock off Pump Fund. But I honestly don't think it's going anywhere. I think even just attention tokens, a token for the latest event, the latest whatever, I think the way we like to gamble, that's not going anywhere. I think that has real legs.
Speculation. I mean, Trent said this yesterday, that speculation is a vehicle that gets everything funded.
Yep.
And that is the heart of this industry, internet capital markets, yada, 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 whatever you want to call it. You know, we could dive into kind of the influencer side of things with Thread Guy and stuff, but I think that's just been beaten to death. It doesn't sound like they were really implicated, in my opinion, although everyone's kind of using them as a scapegoat to blame the reasons that they're kind of perpetuating meme coin trading. Obviously, remember, it was very similar to when FTX imploded. Everyone was blaming Tom Brady for having, right? They're blaming Brady and Larry David and all the people in the FTX commercials for shilling FTX. I think that's kind of like what a lot of these influencers are getting. You know, obviously Dave is now in the casino, Dave Portnoy. Literally, and this is an interesting question, actually. If he tells you that if he's giving a disclaimer before he buys everything and says he's literally going to dump on you, is he doing anything illegal in this situation?
So. No, I don't think so. I think it's the transparent nature. If the game is transparent, I think we're all good with it. It's when it's not transparent, right? That's when we're not good with it. And I think, you know, obviously this is like the worst case scenario. The thing with the KOLs, I mean, that also just exposed they weren't there. They didn't get the first token allocation. But then you just know how it all worked. That contract address just spread out to the KOLs. And they're like literal live streams where the guys are getting it and buying $250,000 of token. You know, it's
literally in one go. Did you see that video?
Just whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh my, just pace it and buy 250K. You know, it's like, you know, as they said, it was rumored, you know, and you just realize what's going on there. It's like, it's disgusting. But yeah.
For Dave, I mean, what a reckless move. Just because it's not technically illegal doesn't mean that you're not going to be caught up in lawsuits right and left because of it. So really bold move on him. We'll see if it works out for him. I do want to mention that, you know, I think that it is extremely self-correcting, and it's funny to call this a kind of fraudulent kind of scandal, international scandal, to the tune of a couple $100 million. Not that big of a deal. But I mean, if we look back through history, we look at the ICO era, people were raising billions overnight, walking away with it completely. We look at SBF, tens of billions of dollars overnight. So, you know, if you look at that kind of like doom loop that just loses velocity and momentum every single time, we're kind of near the end of it. You know, we look at the influencers today, they made $1 million, $2 million. We look at the ICO era for Charles Hoskinson, Vitalik, all these people with a white paper. Everyone thought they were geniuses. They were making tens of billions of dollars. And so it seems like we're pretty much at the stage of it where the industry actually is correcting it. And it sucks that we have to go through it over and over. But every time that we do go through it, it's smaller and smaller and smaller.
So you're saying that circle thing that we've seen from like meme coins where the first pump is big and then it gets smaller and smaller. You're saying it's the same with fraud in crypto. It's like huge.
The crime rotation is smaller and smaller and smaller.
Like that,
the influencers, you know, the old school influencers that we had, they were kind of VCs. Those were the original insiders that were pumping and dumping everything on us for years. They made billions of dollars. Many of those people are actual billionaires, you know?
Yeah.
And so if you were a protocol founder, whether it was a scam or not, there was a good chance you might make billions of dollars. If you were a VC, whether kind of a scam, unethical VC company, scam or not, good chance you can make billions. And now you're at the point where you might make low digit millions. And so it seems to actually be pretty self-correcting, in my opinion.
As crypto does do a good job at self-correcting and getting or washing out all the crime. We'll see how long it takes. For one of the other catalysts that are coming in terms of attention, speculation, Kaido, the TGE is tomorrow, I believe.
Wow. What time, man? I got to be up for that one. What time is it going?
Yeah, so AIXBT, they just started doing this with AIXBT, doing long threads about it. So kind of cool. So here's some information on it. So, and I do have to say before I do read through this, the Kaido team has been moving very fast. The snapshot was literally 2 days ago. And then it went to the claim process on Thursday. This is probably one of the more hyped launches I've seen in a while. People are thinking one of two things. They're like, this is either going to be a blast type situation or this is a hype situation, is what you see, right? Half the timeline is like, this is going straight to zero. The other half is like, this is going to make me the most wealthiest man on the planet. Which way does it land? Who knows? But the setup here is actually somewhat interesting. So tomorrow at 12 p.m. UTC, so it's 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. Eastern time, 4 a.m. Eastern my time. So I hope I wake up to
early,
a green
bro.
candle and not a red, gigantic red candle down. Trading starts at 1 p.m. UTC, so 8 a.m. Eastern time on Binance, OKX, and Kraken. So 3 big exchanges. Very surprised Coinbase hasn't came out yet and said anything. I do have some thoughts on that. Pre-market is valuing each YAP, I guess, or no, the FDV is at 1.2 to 1.5 billion. So if this stays the same, then the circulating supply is 24.4% at TGE. If it stays around 1.2 to 1.5 billion, that puts each YAP at around $100 to $150 per YAP, which is kind of wild.
How many yaps you have? Holy cow, bro. So
I think the snapshot for me was like 950 yaps. It was like number 350 or something. The AI XBT has the most at 22,000 yaps, I believe. But he's also tweeting 1,000 times per day, which is kind of wild, right? So I was tweeting about 20 times per day. And that's original content. I actually tested this out on Monday. I only did quote tweets and I got 0 yaps. And then yesterday I did mostly original content. I ended up getting like 8. So there is actually like some like AI that's happening to this in some way. So Snapchat was taking it on the 17th. There's also the NFT Genesis holders. This is kind of the question is, what is the YAP percentage compared to the NFT holders? The NFTs got up to, the Kaido NFTs got up to 11 ETH in trading volume. Some people are expecting each NFT to be around 600 to 1,000 YAPs per NFT. The mint was 0.1 ETH. So that was 100x to these people who minted these just 2 months ago. So you don't see a lot of those 100x's in NFT land happening too often. The 2% of the circulating supply has actually been given to some Binance staking program on the exchange. So I think this is how they kind of got the Binance listing immediately. There is a staking contract that was deployed, and they're releasing the tokenomics tomorrow. This is claimed that there's a 7 to 90 day lockup period. We don't know who this is for. There's some of this is going to liquidity, and the estimation is 10 to 15% distributed to about 1.7 million YAPs. So the infrastructure play here, the platform's profitable, what they claim. There's some sort of decentralized search functionality. There's multiple reward seasons, right? The YAPs are still going, and the Binance listing was 6 pairs apparently. So AI XPT says that it's more than just a social token, and says his strategy tomorrow is to wait for the initial dump and then stack orders at 0.7. Love that an AI is doing that. One thing I have to say, which I've questioned, and then I'll pass this off, is the fact that Kaido chose Base. I thought was kind of interesting, and not Solana. Cookie DAO, which is another kind of AI NFTFi kind of platform, also deployed on Base. And Cookie, I think, is also listed on Coinbase. So I wonder if in the background, Jesse Pollack and Coinbase was lobbying Kaido to deploy on Base. Maybe because they also had Eric deploy on Base and for VVV for Venice, and they're really trying to compete in this AI NFTFi space. Like the quote that Jesse Pollack's been saying a lot is build long-term strategies with long-term builders. So like Base is trying to attract the long-term builders. So I wonder if there was some negotiation on the background, because obviously Base is a small fraction of liquidity compared to what's happening over at Solana. I guess we'll find out. Coinbase hasn't announced a listing yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced the listing 2, 3, 4 days after the Binance and OKX and Kraken, because of the fiasco of what happened with BVV when they listed Coinbase Coinbase listed token immediately. It went gigantically up and then massively down. So I wouldn't be surprised if they waited a little bit to see where this is going. But Adam had posted earlier that Kaido is going basically straight to zero because of the terrible sentiment on the timeline. Do you still hold that thought now, an hour or two since posting that, in the replies of, I forget who you responded that to?
I in this market, so it's going to be a base token. Then that's where it's going to
The base token. Yeah.
I think that's smart. You know, we saw that a little bit. It does seem to hold up better on base, but I don't get it as far as like what are these guys doing? How's this thing going to work? All these social things have they've all collapsed until I'm proven, you know, wrong. This feels like this will collapse too. Like how's it going to work? You know, after as I earn yaps, I get more of the token going forward? Is that the idea of what they're going to be doing, is just continue rewarding people? It just doesn't seem like, I just in this market with, there's no hopium right now is what it is. There's no like, oh my God, you know, this is going to be like, there's no like bullish sentiment to support a token, right? The sentiment right now is just down only. So unless they have some crazy good market makers that like create a FOMO ramp where, holy cow, oh shoot, I shouldn't sell. I think people will dump, but maybe they can do it. Maybe, shoot, I mean, I hope the market turns around. I hope this is like, it runs to 5 billion and people are like, God damn it, why'd I sell? You know, but it just doesn't feel like that's the sentiment right now. It feels like down only.
Sentiment is at the lowest I've seen in quite a long time. Obviously, I think we're still in a bull market. You know, the question, I guess, is, can this token have success in a silo? Because as Chris mentioned earlier, right, Solana's really kind of siloed, like the scamming and, you know, the social sentiment is really just limited to Solana. And if this is on base, can this be siloed to where it has its own success, even at the behest of kind of the overall macro structure? Chris, what's your thought on Kaido, kind of this evolving NFTFi sector and the move to deploy on base over Solana?
Well, shout out to you for yapping. My guy is yapping hard.
Hard.
I think it's a unique product. And I think one of the most kind of under discussed parts of this launch specifically is AIXBT probably going to receive the biggest airdrop for an AI to date. And so, you know, we talk about these autonomous agents, you know, becoming fully functional as kind of single entities, and how they are going to make money and how are they going to get paid for their services and things of that nature. Never really discussed, you know, specific airdrops for things like this that they can kind of just organically participate in, which is pretty unique. So it'll be interesting to see if Andy just goes ahead and kind of nukes his bag for him, or if the AI is going to kind of hold on to it. Obviously, he can't sell by himself. So that'll be interesting to see what percentage of the supply he gets, what his kind of net worth increases by after the drop. And then just in general, I think it's a unique product. I think it has a good chance of being a pretty decent airdrop. But to Adam's point, nobody's believing in anything in this market. We haven't seen an airdrop hold after 48 hours in the past 2 years. Nobody, I don't think, is willing to take that risk at this point. So I think it's probably going to face the fate of every single one prior to it. You know, we used to have airdrops where, you know, people used the product and they saw promise in the growth of the growth trajectory of the actual application, but it doesn't seem that that's the case anymore. You know, everyone just waits for the TGE and moves on to the next one. So I did see that someone on the timeline, maybe it was Quit, maybe it was someone else, saying that, you know, the airdrop meta, it's actually backwards, and we should be incentivizing applications to come on board to these chains and builders to come onto these chains. And I think that we've tried that before, but I think that that's more right than wrong, is that we keep on rewarding users that then move on to the next best thing, instead of rewarding applications that have staying power, then attract users by second order effect. So once again, I don't know if we'll see any change. We seem to be,
I hope it
riding in
stays
the
over
same cycle.
100, Jake, though, man. You can cash out, make your year, baby. That'd be awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I hope you get paid for yapping, man. I hope you do.
I hope so. We'll see what happens. I guess on one positive side, or a few positives, you say with all of these three major exchanges, you have the market makers coming in and basically are buying the dump. The other question on the other side is who are the buyers in this situation, right? Outside of market makers, is there any retail interest? Are there enough traders out there who want to even just try to punt this at this point in time? And does Coinbase basically have enough pull to isolate, or do they have enough pull within their own ecosystem to encourage everyone to participate in the purchasing of this? Like, is the base ecosystem that large where they could command, $50 to $100 million in trading volume for the TG of a token? Because if you get that much volume, I think you could probably paint the floor somewhere and continue the uptrend. But if not, right, if you just have a bunch of people who are just going to open up shorts on hype, it could be a bloodbath.
I mean, that's what I'm like. Who on Binance? What retail on Binance is gonna be like? Ooh, this looks like a good deal. This is gonna do a 5x from here. Who's gonna do that? I just, I'm sure they have. I mean, they're a smart team. Obviously, they're probably gonna have great market makers, and so who knows? It could run, and that'd be great. I hope it does. But it just retail. The average buyer has been so toasted. It just doesn't feel like
it's bad. Yeah, the sentiment is quite bad.
Honestly, I've never felt it this bad. Like even during the bear market. Bear market's like, oh, everything sucks. But this is like, it sucks, but I'm not going to hold anything right now. Like that's what it feels like right now.
A different dynamic that we used to have as well is that these airdrops were kind of a surprise. No one really knew where they were coming or if they were coming at all.
Yeah, totally.
And so something that's dynamically changed within the industry is you have the teams farming themselves on different side wallets probably, or maybe Kaido is a bit different because it's actually pretty public. But then you have VCs, they're investors, farming them as well. And so you have all of these external parties that are related that are farming the token rather than just retail. And so everyone's looking for that single event to kind of pounce on. And it changes the whole dynamic. It's not as natural or organic as it used to be, which is pretty sad.
I mean, that was the thing with VVV, which was like, what? When you saw people like, oh yeah, I used that thing. Dude, you didn't use that thing because I used it and it sucked. There's no way you were like chatting with it every day. Zero fucking chance.
Every day, and then they made $100,000. Like,
I saw people, I got 1,000,000 points. What? Bro. I mean, it's just fake. You know what I mean? And so I just, the insiders who were, friendly with the team or whatever knew this was happening. And yeah, to your point, you're totally right, dude. Totally.
Yeah, it should be an interesting day. If there is success, does this revive energy back into the market, or does the sentiment still stay quite low? And it could be this way for a while, right? I don't know if there's any other really alternative narrative out there outside of maybe the AI space can be revived. But I was looking at the market cap of the AI sector, and it's actually lower than when it was a few weeks ago. I think last week when we had the AI show, it's below 6 billion now. It's at 5.83 billion for the AI sector at large. When I looked at it yesterday, it was in the fours, so it's kind of bounced back a little bit recently. Solana still holding its lead over Base, 2.6 billion to 2.2. You look at all the top tokens here. Griffin's holding down the mind share. Here, let's see. Let's look at mind share overall. So AIXBT, Fartcoin is just really tumbled. I mean, look at all of these tickers, literally just down horrifically. BXBTs are an AIXBT competitor. So if you look at the top market cap, Virtual's down to 657 million. AI 16Z's at 350. Fartcoin's fallen off a cliff. And it's really kind of meme coins. ARK is still doing well. And the DeFi AI space seems to be kind of where attention is moving to, right? That's obviously where we're building with Agent Hustle. So real opportunity here. But it just seems like even with the AI, or even with the AI space, sentiment's still quite low. But granted, to the AI space, this is something that people can build their way out of, right? When sentiment's low and liquidity's low, people need catalysts. And what is a catalyst in a bear market is product, new products, things for people to toy around with, to tinker, to think on. So one of the benefits of a bear market is products tend to do well because people have time to actually come up with a thesis. Whereas in a bull market, generally the timeline is telling you what to buy and you just try to capture that volatility. So, moving into kind of the overall thesis of AI, is this the sector you think to pay attention to after Kaido, right? Kaido caught the attention for the last month or so. We'll have the TGE. We'll see if the attention stays there. Does everyone move back to AI, even though Kaido is kind of tangentially related to AI because it is an AI product itself?
Man, it's tough to say. It feels like we just need like Ethereum to run, right? We need like an underlying token to run, and then that'll because it's just we haven't had that. I get Bitcoin's been it. Obviously Solana's been. I mean, the thing with Solana is the main driver. But it just feels like we need a underlying token to run where people just feel rich and can spend money again. I think we haven't talked about it much, but I think there's still talk of like Pump Fund doing a token. Something like that could be a real catalyst, where people just feel rich again and can move some money. And who knows, maybe the Yap thing, maybe this does get people feeling a little rich. If you have 900 of these things and it's $100 a token, that you do that math and you're like, shit, I can buy some. What are we buying today, boys? And that sort of thing, we know that could turn around a market. So it only takes one to kind of, the way it is. We pivot on a dime when markets turn bullish. And so, yeah, hopefully Yaps do it, but anything could do it.
So I've pulled up here. This is the Kaido pre-GE leaderboard. So tokens that potentially have, a lot of interest. Kaido is by far number one. Second place is Monad, which released its testnet today. Third is Pump Fund. Polymarket token still in there. The Meteora token taking a hit. The Mega ETH Labs one. You still have the OpenSea token, Abstract token, and I think those are kind of like the biggest ones on the horizon. You have Myriad, which is Farouk's prediction market, and I guess Farcaster. But I would say those are kind of look like they could be the major one. Funny enough, OpenSea, I don't know if you saw, they were getting just absolutely battered and lambasted from doing the Blur kind of 2.0 or 3.0 farming. They did discontinue it yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that,
yep.
Which is rightfully so. It was funny because NFTs, they all went down like 40% after it started. Everyone's like, you motherfuckers, there we go again with this. So they stopped it, and then now they're incentivizing holding NFTs, I believe. I'm going to try to pull the tweet up here. Man, at this point, does the OpenSea token have any potential lifeline to having any types of success here? I don't know.
No.
Chris, we were looking at the
yes, no.
No, you think it's done?
It's like no.
They don't have any original ideas. They can't think for themselves. They
100%.
haven't met a timeline to date. They get pressured every single way by the community, one way or the other. How are they supposed to have any staying power if they can't even decide where they're going to go? They've been struggling and fumbling from day one, and it seems like that will continue.
Yeah, if you listen to I listened to about half of his interview with Thread, and bro, it's just, you listen to this guy, and I sure, he's a nice guy and visionary to start the project, and super successful early on, but sometimes you got to have a change of leadership. Unfortunately, they're dead in the water, man. It's really ugly. No vision. Honestly, when he was talking to Thread, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is sad. Like, no vision of something unique or new, or he doesn't realize like he's on the ropes. Like, that's the thing I don't think he fully understands. Like, he feels like we're the market leader. We'll just keep this train running forever. And it's like, no, you're on the ropes, man. You need to do something great. And everything is just like copy pasta, old stuff. This is death, man.
I was very surprised. One of my predictions for this year was that OpenSea, like they were going to do like a new version of Seaport of some nature. That did not happen at all. They just started the farming. I was very surprised. Like for a year, if you spent a year doing this with 100 developers or 50 developers or whatever's on the team, man, yeah, I don't know what's going on over there.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, imagine 100. Well, Jake, what could you accomplish with 100 developers?
Dude, I know we have 4 developers now, and I'm like, man, we could take over the world with 4.
Dude, it should have been like OpenSea, where every asset on every blockchain trades. There you go. We're every asset everywhere.
I was actually somewhat fearful. We had talked about this 6 months ago. It's like there's potential OpenSea could create an Apple Vault competitor and just 100%. Absolutely destroy us.
100%.
Obviously, 100%. We know it's much more difficult to do that, but I thought I was like, man, I thought it was going to be any NFT anywhere kind of thing.
That's right. Totally. That's exactly. And it was nothing. It was only EVM chains, no Bitcoin, no Solana. Dude, his answer for why not Solana, which was like, don't worry, man, it's coming soon. Bro, really? Really? It's crazy. Crazy, the lack of vision. Yeah, it's, it is what it is, man. Most businesses can't survive. And I think it's just a matter of, it's a run to zero with OpenSea. That's an insta sell. That's an insta.
And I mean, how many tokens is that team going to get from their own launch? How many tokens are the insiders going to get in that launch? All their investors trying to recoup their money. I think that's pretty much what happened with Magic Edens as well, right? They raised a huge number. They raised it over $1 billion. Their investors wanted some cash back. They had a TGE. They were the biggest beneficiaries. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Man, sentiment low. Kaido, can you save us, man?
So, yes. Kaido, it's going to run to 200. Jake, don't sell out at 100. It's going to run to 200, man. It's going to make 2 years of bank, baby.
I guess, the guess would be, where does that actually open up? Where does that land? What is the number that what's the number that they've told the market makers that basically you buy any time it goes below this? And then they basically set whatever that amount is, right? Here's 50 million in liquidity across these 4 different exchanges. Anytime it goes here, you basically turn this into a floor at some point in time. Can they do that? I don't know. Did they hire Wintermute? I guess. What is the situation there? It's Binance. It's Coinbase. Who knows? Might be a tough time here. But I do think AI, I think, is what builds this out. Like, there's so many different angles that can happen to it, between the DeFi AI kind of sector to entertainment value to just a thing that I think you can actually grab your attention and move it away from the charts, because everyone is so focused right now on trading pump fun or just being pissed at KOLs and influencers for their bad decisions. Man, you just need something that can just suck you in, like a game. Like, this would be a great time for like crypto gaming to be like a thing where you could just like basically bury yourself in a video game for a month and come back and have a reset. But unfortunately, we're not really there yet. Although Goblin Town is creating a game that I guess has a lot of attention. It's called
That's what we needed. That's what we needed right there. Huh?
Theirs is called it actually looks pretty cool. It's gotten a bunch of support and from gamers as well. It's called like the very, very hard racing game, something like that. Here, let me put this up here on the screen.
Oh, cool.
I do have some Goblin Town.
What did they used to say when you went in the spaces with them? Was it gobble gobble?
Yeah.
The gobble gobble gobble. Remember that, Chris? Yeah, gobble gobble.
Of course, yeah. That's the absurdity.
So the game actually looks pretty good. It's another kind of racing game. I guess it's called the very hard racing game. I don't know how the NFTs play into this, although I do know there's a component to it. But it looks like it's much better than Dookie Dash graphics. I gotta tell you that. And we'll see if it has some type of adoption. The thing with like the game kind of gaming sector is, if you have a game like this and you can onboard live streamers and stuff and they have no idea that it's crypto, is that actually a win for crypto, or is that not a win, right? If the NFTs are not being used, if the in-game tokens not being used, is that actually a win or not? The really hard driving game. It's really hard, by the way. So it's called. Like something
Hey,
like,
it's fun, man.
yes, something like this, I feel like is good for like a bear market where people
Totally.
can just kind of bury their head into it. But unfortunately, we're not there yet.
I mean, we still haven't had any kind of liquid venture capital funds. You know, everyone was still having a hard time raising as of the end of last year. We'll see if those come on board. We had hundreds of millions of dollars go into Bitcoin layer twos at the beginning of last year. Haven't seen one of those activate. I think that this is our last shot at this being like our industry, crypto natives industry. We're passing the torch to traditional finance at this point, traditional capital. People that build real products. Apparently, this industry can't build real products. We just siphon all the money out to our wallets. So if that's the case, we'll see what happens. But it seems like we've been raising for these products millions and millions of dollars for 10 years, and we've always been the optimists, saying like, "Oh, the products will come." It doesn't look like the products are going to come, and it's about time for us to hand over the reins to real product builders, real people with real finance, building trajectory. These traditional banks, Bank of New York Mellon, all these old school banks are going to have custody services. I mean, you see what's happening with Bitcoin. It's been completely financialized through Wall Street. And, we wanted to see the little guy win and build from the bottom up, but it looks like it's going to come from the top down if we can't figure it out. And at this point, I'm not so sure that we will.
That is the general sentiment. I can't remember which OG Bitcoiner, tweeted this week that he's sold all his Bitcoin and just bought the ETF. And it was like, woof, bottom sentiment, man. Peer-to-peer digital cash done.
Man, I don't know. For me, I don't. There's no right in my mind I would ever do that. Like, to me, why would you make that unless you're trying to make a statement of some sort, like you're trying to tear down the Bitcoin community intentionally? I think his name is like, was it Thinking USD or one of the rainbow chart guy or whatever his name is?
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about, but
I mean, I actually get it, because for a lot of people, I mean, most people, that's the way I would recommend they buy Bitcoin, right? Because they don't. The idea of self-custody is so foreign, but for a Bitcoin OG to do it, honestly, it still makes sense to me. You got a family, wills and all this sort of stuff. It's just way easier, like 100% get it. But it just shows where we are. Where's crypto? Where's the heart of crypto? Right now, the heart of crypto is how fast can I make money? It's not about anything else besides that. And at some point, we need to get back to that. I just don't see right now. That does not seem to be anywhere on the horizon. There's basically 5 guys on my timeline who are interested in that,
Yeah.
and I think we're just miles and miles away from that.
All right, boys.
We're the last guys fighting the Vietnam War. Is that right?
Bro.
Us 3.
Yeah, right. We're on that island, bro.
That the ETFs were actually a net positive for crypto. I mean, it's obviously extremely dangerous for people's safety to be carrying millions of dollars in bear assets that can be transferred at will. So even having that kind of opaque layer, whether you might be a Bitcoin ETF holder or not, really helps with personal security and things like that. So I think that that's pretty important, and I agree with Adam. And I would recommend that most people should probably buy the ETF rather than coins directly at this stage. So it's a bit discouraging just to see how far we've just given in to being completely greed and money driven as an industry. We thought it was bad years ago, and it continues to just kind of happen. But I don't know. We'll see where we go from here. We're going to keep on building like we always do.
Yeah, man. We're the last saviors. Fuck it. Emblem's going to build our way out of it.
The last of the Mohicans.
Got to build your way out of it. That's right, man. That's right.
Yeah, right. Some of the OG kind of protocols that have not been VC funded, kind of wild to think about. There's literally maybe a handful of teams. I don't think Jupiter was actually, even though they're in a bunch of shit, I don't think they were VC funded. I think they were one of those people, although they did some weird stuff with their TGE, which was kind of interesting. But we will be in ETH Denver, so maybe we'll be reunited with a bunch of the cypherpunks out there who still believe in the decentralized ethos. I mean, there's still a bunch of them, but man, tough sentiment all around. We'll continue to build. I'm still quite positive. I think AI is still the sector that reinvigorates, or utility tokens once you get, maybe it's a macro decision that needs to pull us out of this, right? Once you get the market structure bill or a stable coin bill, right, of some sort, maybe that just is what pours in the new money. But until then, it's going to be a developer, it's going to be a builder timeline for the next few months, it seems like, unless everyone just gives their money to Dave Portnoy in the trenches, which will be interesting. So, we'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Please make sure that you follow the Emblem account as well as the AI Agent Hustle account. Hopefully we'll have some fun and cool stuff coming out of that soon. The devs are absolutely deving, to say the least. Until then, maybe we'll come on the show tomorrow, and if the Kaido airdrop goes well, then I'll see you guys in a year. Just kidding.
See you tomorrow, guys.
And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be safe out there. Have a good Wednesday. And remember, don't give up.
Take care.